Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for coming to the lead up to the Virtual Wellness Summit. I'm Damian Kinsey. I'm one of the, co-facilitators, presenters, and support system of the Virtual Wellness Summit. And I also have Dr. Tanya Farron here, and Dr. Farron can introduce herself because she's amazing.
Thanks, Damian. I appreciate that. Yes, I am Tanya Farron. I'm also one of the co-host creator of Virtual Wellness Summit. We're excited to bring this presentation to you, this live event every week on Sundays at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So we're happy that you're here with us today as we jump onto our new topic.
So now,
our topic is going to be the pressures of public speaking. We talked about this a little bit in our audio room on Wednesday mornings. So we do have an audio room on Wednesday mornings where we talk for a short period of time, just audio about the pressures of public speaking. But on Sundays, we dig into that topic just a little bit deeper and we go live talking about that. So we wanted to really get back into, we'll review a little bit about the pressures of public speaking that we did on Wednesday and then dig a little bit deeper into it. So Damian, you want to go back and kind of reflect on some of those things that we talked about on Wednesday about the pressures of public speaking?
I definitely want to talk about those things, but before we get started, I just kind of want to let people know that don't know what the Virtual Wellness Summit is. It is a 2-day workshop, conference, bonanza, extravaganza, meet and greet, meeting of the minds, 20 different presenters, over 25 different workshops on March 22nd and March 23rd, which is a Friday and a Saturday. And it's a 2-day event, and we have so many amazing presenters. They are going to at least 2 people each hour is going on and having presentations from burnout to leadership to how to deal with stressful people in the workplace, all the way to having it all, owning your own journey, having conversations around entrepreneurship. We're also doing meditation. Is that correct? And what else? What else we're doing?
You're hitting a lot of the hits. So we've got conversations on parenting. Let me read some of the topics to you. Managing impossible people, how to help end the stigma on mental health, poetry as mental health, using affirmations to support your child's educational success, breaking through burnout, building your community through curiosity, revealing your wellness hero within, yoga for self-care, energy impacting your success, and stress management. That's just some of the presentations on the very first day. So this is going to be an amazing 2-day workshop, the 22nd and 23rd, as well as a networking opportunity for everybody that comes, for the presenters and for the attendees. So, we want to make this just the most powerful 2 days that you have been to. And, our theme of it is how you can have it all in life, right? So we want to make sure that we are giving you as many tools as you possibly can have to have it all in life. So I just want to say thanks to Leslie and David and Alicia, Cornelius and Heidi, and for being here tonight. Thank you so much for being here and for commenting in the chat. When you comment in the chat, that's how I see who is here. Damian probably has a different view, but say hello in the chat so that I can see all the awesome people that are here. And I love Alicia. Thank you. Don't threaten me with a good time. It is going to be a good time. I love that. And I hope that you're going to attend. So tomorrow is the last day of $47 for 2 full days of the summit. So grab your ticket for that right now. you want to get in now, it's $47. I mean, it's taking your kids to McDonald's basically, right? I mean, my husband and I went to dinner one night at Culver's. It was like $30. So this is an amazing deal. So make sure that you are able to catch that deal right now. Otherwise, the price goes up to $159, which is still amazing for 2 days, or you can just purchase one day for $89. So it is an incredible event. You'll be able to start seeing the sessions coming up here in the next couple of days. And we are very excited about that. Lexi just put the link in the chat. Thank you so much, Lexi. Hi, Christina. Thanks. Hi, Amy. Thank you for being here today and for jumping in the chat. We appreciate you.
Yeah, and it's $47. The event has a QR code on it. This actual event, you can just scan the QR code on an event, go straight to it. And we're doing free workshops such as this. We're going live every Sunday at this time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central time. And I believe, if I got this correctly, if you are in the West Coast, Pacific West Coast, it is 5 p.m. your time, correct? All right. And we're doing this also on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Central time. And you see the thing 5 o'clock Western Standard Time. And we're doing these workshops up until the summit. And we're talking about public speaking. So if you came to this workshop on Wednesday, the audio room, we talked about public speaking from the perspective of presenter and audio room. And now we're talking from the perspective of presenter and doing lives. All right. You want to talk about the first topic that we have going, Dr. Farron?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to spend a little bit of time going back over some of the things that we totally recommend for you to do, that we do, that I have done personally with my own presentations that I've done. So those of you who know me know that I have been in education for a long time. I've been a teacher, so I've talked in front of students, but that's not a big deal. But when you talk in front of your peers or you start talking in front of an audience, it becomes a little bit more intense. It changes a little bit. And so, having a lot of years of experience to practice that and going in and making sure that, I am giving some information out so that people can understand it takes practice. And so that's one of the things that I do for myself. So I shared on the audio event that one of the things that I did recently, a few years ago, there's this big trauma-informed practice summit that happened in my state. And I was so excited to be selected to do that. I was so nervous because I knew there was going to be hundreds of people in my room. I had 75 minutes that I had to talk, and it was live and in person. And so I was so worried about that I spent an entire weekend practicing. I put my presentation on a screen on my TV. I recorded myself 3 or 4 different times. I watched myself on my recording. I sent it to my mom. I sent it to my kids. I had them review it, give me some feedback on it. So it takes a lot of practice sometimes to make sure that you are, presenting yourself in a way that is going to attract your audience. And so we're going to talk about some of those things tonight to help give you some tips so that you can, maybe either get over the fear of public speaking or that you can potentially, improve your public speaking. And so this is a great way for you to be able to do that. So like I said, recording yourself is one thing. You want to look at some different things. And Damien and I have even done this with our lives. We sat down after our very first live and we critiqued ourselves. And that is so hard to do, and it is, in fact, my mom and my kids, my family is very close to me. And so I sent that first live out to everyone and, received their feedback. But we were able to do that for ourselves also, and I'm going to tell you one of the things that I noticed for myself was that when I was watching Damien talk, I was sort of in like this relaxed, slumped state. And I said, Damien, look at me like that. I've got to make sure that I'm sitting upright, right? And that was one of our conversations, was that posture that you have when you are, presenting yourself to someone, even though you're really intently listening. What does that appearance look like? Damien, what is your reflection from that first time that we talked and did a live together?
Yeah, I got a lot of useful information about myself, like eye contact and looking at. It's kind of strange because you're looking at the camera and then the little thing is like right here, and you're trying to look over it. I see myself sometimes looking over to see what's going on because my Alexa's going off and I don't want it to replay back. So now I just disconnect it. And also, even during the process of learning and going through it, I learned a lot about myself and I picked up tips. And I'll give a tip that I learned from David Johnson, elevating your computer so it can be at eye level so it's not looking up at you. So you're trying to be at eye level and keeping that headroom and space even. And thank you for David Johnson and his team so pointing that out and giving me that tip, and that's just me being open to actually doing lives and doing more of them because it gives you opportunity to keep learning more about yourself and looking back at those are truly important because most people either love it or they dread it. Sometimes you have some people who are in the middle and they could go either way, but we want to give you opportunities to see about like learning from this to not dread it because we all have to speak at one point in time publicly about something, whether it's advocating or just as a job. So, is it hard work and is there do you feel pressure when it's on time to do public speaking, Dr. Farron?
I really love it because I do enjoy it because I enjoy interacting with other people. And so I am definitely a people person. And so I like to get to know other people. So if I'm in a scenario like when I do in-person professional development, I spend time at before. So I get in as early as I can to my space that I'm presenting in and I set up all of my equipment. We talked about this, Damien, you and I did at the audio. We always bring extra equipment just in case one computer failed. So like for my presentation, just to be prepared for it, I bring a backup on a thumb drive. I bring two computers. I bring additional cords. I bring additional everything. Yeah, he's got his backup computer ready for him right now. Right now, I have two phones in case something goes down. I mean, I am ready to present. And so I have all of those things. I try to go through and do some troubleshooting as well as turn things off that are distracting. So I make sure that I do that. But in that amount of time, I really try to make my audience feel comfortable also. So I will walk up and down and I will talk to people and say, hello, how are you? Where do you usually, because I'm giving education presentations, I go and I say, where are you working? Who do you work with? What is the age group? Things like that. And I try to really make my audience feel comfortable, right? I don't want people to go to the back row because they don't want to be called on. I want it to be a really good conversation. And I want people to feel like this is where they're going to get their most benefit from, is from this conversation that we have together, that this is going to be their greatest workshop that they go to. And so I really try to walk around and get some information from people before I even begin my conversation to make them feel comfortable and for them to get to know me a little bit better on a personal level. And so that also gets me warmed up a little bit. And so kind of gets the nerves out because I feel like I'm just, having a conversation with friends once I start getting warmed up to people, Do you get nervous, Damien?
Do I get nervous? Yes, I get nervous. I'm a human being. I have kind of tips and strategies how I try to get out of the nerves. I do a lot of who cares? That's what I start with. So if I do say who cares? My whole goal and objective is to get the information out there, be able to articulate myself as clear as possible. And we do make mistakes. We are human beings. I am not doing this as my sole purpose and job. So it's okay and have fun with it. The biggest thing is about energy and being in the room. And I know Dr. Kimberly talked about that and being nervous the first 5 minutes of talking. And after a while, once you get into it, you realize that you're just having a conversation with a group of people and look at them as your friends and your family, your coworkers, and it's just an opportunity to talk to people. And Camille said she didn't realize that she make weird faces. We all make things, and
Yes, Camille, you're so right though. When you look at that, and I talked about this on Wednesday morning, when I started being a teacher, one of the very first things they had us do was record ourselves in our teaching session from the back of the room. And you learn so much when you record yourself. You learn what side of the room you draw most of your attention to. I'm right-handed. Most of my attention is drawn to the right side of the room. I have to be cognizant to draw attention to the left side of the room to make sure that I'm going over in that direction. When you turn away from people and you're talking and your voice fades away, making sure that you're facing them and how you are articulating and making sure that you are clear. There are other pieces that are important that I would like to share. If you guys are doing any public speaking in person, this is hard, especially being an educator. This is a common phrase for educators. Oh, I'm loud. I don't need a microphone. Okay. Microphones amplify and make words clearer. And so we also should respect and understand that there are people who have hearing issues. And so I always, even though I'm a loud talker, I use the mic because it changes. I don't have to shout so loud, and then I'm able to just make my words clear. And so that's really important for people in the room to be able to hear, especially if they're in the back of the room or there's a door in that space where the door might be open. And so they're hearing outside traffic and, people walking around in conversation. So make sure that you are projecting your voice. Make sure that you are practicing a good cadence. My daughters have told me on different pitches that I've done for different things, they're like, slow down. You're talking way too fast. Slow down. And so, okay, slow down and take that breath. And so really working on our voice and the cadence that we're giving and, the eye contact that we're giving to people is really, really important. What do you have to say, Damien, about voice? What are some of your tips about that?
so the biggest thing for me is my voice is my voice. It's unique. It's my own instrument. I know how to maneuver it the best way possible for me. If I have to pull back on certain words and flick forward. And it was a good point that you brought up about the mic. Um, I like to be prepared for the mic working and the mic not working, and being able to and I think that's key because sometimes we get caught up in technology. And we talked earlier about being nervous. My biggest nerve, my biggest point that creates nervousness is not being able to be in the room and be able to talk, or not being prepared. So I try to prepare, and once it starts, I'm fine. I always worry about not getting started. I worry about the internet going off during this conversation and it being choppy and not going in place, not getting into the room. So, like, even in the beginning of this, I'll share this tip. I check to see if it started on LinkedIn while you're talking, to see if like it's actually running. And that's the only thing I worry about. But once I get started, I'm fine, because it's about, like you said, in the beginning, you work the room and have those conversations. And it's the same thing when you're doing your public speaking, your opportunity, it's working the room. Even if you're doing a live and going back and forth and putting people up and putting their comments, that's about working the room and still holding your conversation and like sharing time. So now I made my point, and now it's time to segue over to you so you can add value to the conversation, so we can't manipulate the conversation to the point where it's just one voice. And that's important as well when you're doing public speaking, especially with co-presenting, to share. And I go on mute so I don't jump in and over jump on you, so I can be able to like hear what you're saying so I can add value back. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You said a lot of really, really good things there that I want to go back to talking about. So when you were talking about that fear of not being able to get into the room or not being the technology not working, yes, one of the things that I also do in addition to my thumb drive is I print out a copy of what I want to talk about. because if worst case scenario comes, I have a hard copy of what my talking points would have been. I may have a couple of handouts available that are physical when I'm in person talking, so that I can pass those around. Another thing that's really important when you are doing in person is to get to get audience participation, just like we're doing in this chat here right now. Thank you for everyone who's participating in this. We're going through and reading those, and you are really adding value to this conversation. And so when you are talking to a group of people, giving them an opportunity to add value to what you're saying is huge, because, great minds, right? You want to have, more perspectives to help make a very good statement. And so that's important. So having people's additional value in conversations is really important that we do. There was something else that I wanted to say that you were talking about. Oh, and being ready, being prepared, and having some additional things to do. So, Damien and I, we work through this conversation way early in. We know who's going to do what parts of this event. Damien does a great job of the behind the scenes, the StreamYard pieces of that. We have talking points that we have created together, that we have organized and prepared on documents, that we have on other screens. We come in 10, 15 minutes early to make sure that we are ready, that we can go through and we are ready to talk together. We talk about who's going to do the intro, who's going to do the closing, things like that, And so we spend a lot of time just preparing and getting ready for this just 1 hour. And so that's important to do too. That way you're not fumbling through things. If you're in person, having a variety of things to go back and forth, when you are, doing things, I always have like chart paper for my guests to write on. I have additional Post-it notes for them to write on. I give them something physically to do, so it's not just a sit and get. I want them to participate. I want them to collaborate, and I want them to network with the people that are in that space with them. And so think about that. Think about getting your audience engaged. It's so much more fun when they are. So I'm reading some of these comments. They're great. Yes, icebreakers, right? They cause everybody to participate in them. People sometimes really complain about icebreakers, but you know what? By the end, people are usually having a good time together after they get to know one another. Damien, what's your favorite icebreaker?
I don't know. That's a good one. For years, I wasn't a real fan of icebreakers. But I got into them over the past probably 6, 7 years. I think they're great. I always like to see other people doing. I don't really always want to do it. I think it's about getting to know people, and if I can say one off the top of my head, it's about having that conversation centered around what is something that you could tell me about yourself that has nothing to do with your kids or your job. I think that's a great one because it goes back to you as an individual talking about yourself, because there was a you before your kids, and there was a you before you got that job, and there was a you before your organizations, and you before that college or university that you went to, and getting people to think about that, who you are, and not lose yourself. And I think that's also part of the reason why I am really invested in the summit, because it's about giving people opportunity about them, who they are, and being able to actually think about who they are as an individual and get opportunities to do those well-rounded things about work, family, organizations, and your partner. So I think that was a great question you asked. Before we go back into it, I do want to kind of highlight some people who are going to be a part of the summit. Leslie Flowers is going to be a part of the summit. So if you notice, I'm going to put comments of people who I can see who are a part of the summit and highlight them. Heidi Wild is a part of the summit. Highlight her. She's doing a workshop. Lexi helps out in part of the summit. She's getting things going. She's in the chat. She's putting the where you can get the information from the summit. Camille is a part of the summit as well. She's presenting as well with the summit. Also presenting is Jackie. Jackie Holberg is presenting in the summit as well. And I think we have one, maybe two more people who are in the one more. Jamie's presenting in the summit. And those are the only, oh no, and I see one more
You have
person.
one more popped in.
There we
Yay!
go. And King is presenting in the work-life balance summit. And of course, Dr. Farron and myself is presenting in the summit. And if you LinkedIn user, the kind of trick I do sometimes is for us to actually know who you are is I write whatever I'm talking about, and I kind of either put my first name or the first and last name, and it kind of gives us who you are. I don't know how to change that. I always come up as LinkedIn user as well too. So don't feel bad, LinkedIn user. All right.
So I wanted to just highlight some people. Thank you for those of you who've dropped in the chat, some of the engaging icebreaker activities that you have done. I want to share one with you guys that I just did with my staff. We actually did like your relationship with books, and we did breakout rooms where we had 3 different topics of books, meaning you are a electronic reader, book reader only. You love your paperback and hardback books, and you refuse to write in them, or you are the kind of person that gets into a good book, folds the pages back, dog ears it, highlights in it, writes in the side. What kind of book person are you? And so we opened the breakout rooms, and people picked which area they were in, and they had to create one statement and have one spokesperson of why they believed that their relationship with books was the best. And it was so fun. I mean, my staff just had the best time and really learned a lot about each other. It was really, really fun. And so try that sometime. It was easy. Everybody has some type of a relationship with a book. And so, it was just really easy and safe. It was a safe conversation to get people started and talking. So that was really, really fun to do. So those types of icebreakers and getting things going is really important. I think we want to talk about a couple other things that are really important. We talked about videoing ourselves, but we also talked about, we need to talk about receiving feedback. And so that is really hard. So we talked about watching ourselves, but making sure that, when you are putting yourself out there to other people, the first time I started doing my YouTube videos and TikTok videos, I had a very good friend of mine say, that's really, really nice, but that's really not you. And I was like, what do you mean? That's me. And she's like, no, that's not your personality. Like, your personality isn't coming out yet. Like, because I wasn't comfortable with it. So, very, very cautious and very, I love all those book comments. I love it. Me too, Jackie. I cannot write in them. And so, so I had to receive that feedback. I was really excited about my very first videos, and I showed them with a friend, but you know what, really, she was right. I was very, very formal and very postured and just giving, a conversation instead of being myself. And so, that has taken some time to evolve. So to receive that feedback, whenever you're reading, you're receiving feedback, you're going in and you're having to look inward at yourself, and it's okay to take that feedback. Now, it's up to you, right? When you receive feedback, it's up to you of whether or not you want to make that change or you don't want to make that change. You may not make a lot of change at once. You might just make a few small changes at a time. A lot of us that are public speaking have been speaking for a really, really long time, but we're still working on improving our craft. And I think that's really important to know, is that even some of the greatest public speakers are still reflecting, looking at it, critiquing, and trying to improve it. Which brings me to a really great point of making sure that you are going in and you're observing people who are great public speakers, going in and watching them speak, watching them, their body language, watching their mannerisms, and whether or not you are liking it or not, you're either taking it or you're going to say, I'm not going to be doing that. And so you're making a decision one way or another of how you are receiving that information. And so take feedback, listen to feedback, determine what you want from that feedback. What do you want to gain or you don't want from that feedback that you're getting? and take some time to observe some other people.
Nice. And Janelle's here as well. Thank you for taking the tip. We know you are. You're here. Thanks for the support. Everyone out there supporting and showing up. Another thing about public speaking that I noticed that early on was I would watch different fields of people doing public speaking and speaking publicly. Now we look at public speaking and we think we limit it to speech writers and politicians or someone doing a workshop. Breath work is key and important. So I would watch singers and musicians and look at their breath work. Comedians and stand-up comedians. I'm sorry, some of the greatest public speakers are stand-up comedians because that is a written speech. It's a cadence to it, it's a flow to it, and a lot of times it's based off of energy from your audience and it sets up something else, just like a great speech sets up the next thing. And watching those people perform and do those things is key and important as well because it helps you with pace, points, punchlines, breath work, when to stop and go, get a drink of water, hold your audience, and then get back to what you're trying to do. I think those things are important. And part of this process and this journey with the Virtual Wellness Summit, it's about presenting opportunities and having individuals who are on our team and these great 20 presenters to go out and do what they do best and talk about what they do every single day or for a living and have those conversations in front of a group of people. And opportunity is so important. And a lot of times it's about gauging your audience and getting that information and rhythm. So what are your thoughts when you're standing in front of the room? What do you channel, Dr. Farron?
Yeah. You brought up great points, and I do agree. Comedians, right? Their timing is impeccable, and they practice their timing, they practice their pauses, and they practice their sound bites. But I think they also practice how they are able to read the room, right? They're reading the attention and the attraction of the audience members. And I think that is so critically important for us to be able to do when we are presenting in front of people. We need to watch and see, and it's kind of hard. Like when you're doing an audio room, right? You might see people leaving and thinking, okay, this conversation may be turning in a direction that's really not attracting people. So how can I recover this conversation and keep the people here, that I want to hear the rest of what I have to say, or the rest of the guests that we have here. So being able to read that and make a transition or a change to be able to bring that audience back to you. So being able to notice that and see where that conversation is going. Now, also on the other side of the coin, right? So we call this in education a teachable moment sometimes, or you're running with it, right? So if you get a lot of engagement, or you get a lot of people who are engaged and interacting, you may let some of the other conversation go by the wayside, and you may be running with this point because this point is, it's hot, it's interesting, you've got a lot of interaction with it, people are wanting to know more about it, you have more information to give on it, so you're going to run with that conversation. And so it's really important to be able to read that room and see that, and so I love that. Those of you that are helping us out with this chat today, thanks so much. So think about that. What do you do when you notice that the room is going down, and what do you do when you see that they're, really running with the idea? So let us know. That'll help also stimulate the conversation so people can learn other ways to be able to help with that. So I do want to talk about the people that we have at the Virtual Wellness Summit. We talked about this at the very, very beginning in December when we did our kickoff to the Virtual Wellness Show. Now, Damien and I are going to be here every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. But we are going to be here, and we want to talk about these amazing presenters that we have. So you guys, these presenters are just not people that submitted us an application. These are people that we have met personally, we have worked with, we have taken their courses, we have been in their rooms, we have, a whole variety of things. We have met them individually. Basically, they've had to have kind of an interview conversation with us. Then they submitted a proposal. But these are the best of the best out there. And we want to bring them to you all. And we're excited about that because these are like some of the most dynamic people that are on LinkedIn or that are in their community on Facebook, wherever their community and network is. Like, they're some of the most dynamic people. And, you know, we want you to receive the strategies and skills that they are offering. And so we believe that you can have it all in life by taking from these presenters in the Virtual Wellness Summit that is going to be March 22nd and 23rd. So they're amazing. They're incredible. I can't say enough for them. So I either know them personally, have met them. Damien knows them personally, has worked with them or has met with them, and they're just incredible. So they also are great at public speaking. They're great at drawing attention. They're great at, you know, all of those pieces. So you'll learn so much from them.
Yes, definitely come out to the summit. And again, it is the early bird special, which is $47. It's tomorrow's the last day to actually buy it for $47. Then it goes up. 2 days event, $47, which is $23.50 for each day. And I'm sorry, I like math and I can do math good. But after that, it goes up to $159, and it's been that price from December to now. And it's a good opportunity to actually see some great presenters for the Virtual Wellness Summit. And it's 20 different presenters. And also, come leading up to that, we'll be doing these workshops every single week. One will be an audio room, and then it'll be a live. So if you attend the audio room, you'll get the information from the perspective of what we're sharing in the audio room. And then the live room will be another enhancement of what the information is on top of that.
I love that. Let me tell you guys a few more topics that are coming. These are some of the topics that we have sort of sketched out for day 2. So we have storytelling, a leader's secret weapon. In all you get, gain understanding. I'm really excited. I mean, I'm excited about all of the presenters, but there's so many that I just can't wait to go in and see everybody. But, you know, the Welcome to Fatherhood dynamic is going to be amazing for some people. I'm excited to get their message out to the world. I mean, that to me, like, you know, that to me, I feel like I have seen what Welcome to Fatherhood does with Sir Royce and Raheem. And I feel like if I don't share this with the world, I'm doing the world a disservice. Honestly, I really, truly mean that. And so amazing what they are doing. So I really want to help promote them. So you all can see that. And then Daniel's talking about consistency towards greatness. We've got yoga for self-care and from both days. Lee is going to talk about eating well. So we're going to do some meal prepping. She's going to talk about meal prepping, healing relational traumas, good grief. We're going to talk about grief. And I know we're talking about wellness, but you know what? We've all experienced grief in our life. And so we have a really amazing licensed therapist, Deanna Pelly, who was at our summit in October, and she just can hold an audience. Like, let me tell you guys, she's amazing. I don't know what else to say. We've got Dr. Q talking about healing relational traumas. We've got Dr. Mel Vandervoort talking about leadership. Lee is also talking about unlocking your best self, and Jackie's talking about burnout, which I know is a hot topic. And then Damien is closing the day. So like there's just so many great topics to go to and to see. Their sessions are 45 minutes long. In the middle of the day on day 1, we have a networking opportunity for people to go in and network and meet with the presenters and meet with each other and network with other people that are attending. So please come to that so you can meet more people. We also have on the second day a meet the presenters. And so you get to just go in and meet. We did this on the first, we only had one day with the summit we had in October, and everyone loved it. We just hung out and, you know, got to know each other even better. And they got to ask presenters questions, and it was so fun. Like, and people asked for that again. So we received feedback. You know, feedback is so important. So whether you have a business, whether you're doing speaking, receiving feedback, asking for feedback, even though it's hard sometimes to take, it's important. But we listened to our audience, and our audience wanted these things. They wanted 2 days. We're giving them 2 days. They wanted more presenters. They wanted more time to meet with presenters and network. We're doing it. We're doing it. Yes. Kinga, I know we're all excited about making more friends. And so amazing. Yes. And Heidi
And Brenda
commented,
Lee.
Brenda Lees is here. Yay. Yes.
And she's presenting as well.
She is. She is. So many fun things to talk about. Damien, I thought this would be kind of fun. And I'll go first so you can have some think time because we didn't talk about this. But like, what is like your earliest memory of having to public speak or learning about public speaking? Like, what was like your earliest, like, oh my gosh, I have to speak in front of somebody. And like, I don't know, what was the best public speaking experience that you've had? So like the first and the best. So I'll go first and talk about it.
Okay.
Are you ready? You already want to go?
My first, I shared on the audio room the other day. My first, and ironically, it was MLK. I Have a Dream speech, and as a kid, I read it and realized how long that speech is, and it's not just the part where we talk about the dream part in which gets the sound bite and cut down. I remember reading that and memorizing it and thinking and like, dad, this speech is really long, and I'm a little kid trying to remember this stuff, and I was able to remember it. And the hardest part was like trying to remember all the information. And then once I remembered it, and then I got on stage and I was like, oh, am I gonna fumble over it? And I just kind of like blacked out in my head and just went off of like rote memorization of the words and got through it. So that was the first. I think the biggest thing was I spoke at a city council tree. Like we planted, like a parent got killed at one of in the communities in the schools that I worked at, and we planted a tree for peace for the community. And the city council was there, the school was there, and I was the keynote speaker for it. I think that was one of the biggest things. And speaking at high schools and elementary schools and universities, those are the biggest things. Speaking at public schools, speaking at charter schools, those are some of the biggest things. And also speaking at like Ivy League schools and also like regular community college are some of the biggest things. And like I think the biggest thing is about talking to young people for me. So how about you?
That's cool. I would say probably my earliest kind of recollection, and I shared about this part on Wednesday. My earliest recollection was, sorry, I just saw Kinga's comment in the chat. Yours was the Gettysburg Address. Oh my gosh, that's a long one. Oh my gosh. Wow. 8th grade graduation speech. I love this. I love this. So my first one, I remember being in high school and taking a speech class and not really knowing what it really was about. I didn't know. And I was fine. I was always the talker in school. I was the one, right, that said, talks too much, talks to the neighbors too much. And I saw a post from someone somewhere like, raise your hand if you're the person who talks too much in class, but what do you do for a living now, right? So you're the public speaking, or you're, a principal or a teacher or something like that. So it was kind of ironic. But I was in this speech class, and I remember, kind of being nervous about it, but it was like 5 or 10 kids. It wasn't a lot. And I gave a speech, but I remember this other boy. I remember him being so scared, and he wouldn't even stand up in front of the crowd. And he had a compact disc, like a music compact disc. And she just said, well, what can you tell me about that? And she really had to draw the words out of this person. And that's when I really realized, like, this isn't just, speaking isn't easy for everyone, like it really impacted me and really gave me some compassion around other people who are shy or have a harder time talking, or, which also draws me to going in and saying, like, asking a lot of probing questions. How are you? What do you do? Like I always kind of go to the person who's quietest to maybe break the ice with them and hopefully make them feel more comfortable. And so I think that helped me with that. My favorite speech that I ever gave was in 2020. My daughter Lexi, that's my daughter Lexi Romerl in the chat. My daughter Lexi and her husband graduated from, they weren't married yet, graduated from college, and they missed a graduation. So we surprised them with an outdoor graduation on our patio, had them put their caps and gowns on. I had been, we were home for COVID, so I had been creating and finding all of these graduation speeches. I had a graduation speech off of YouTube that I did, and I had my husband speak, and my other daughter spoke, and we pretended like we gave them their diplomas, and it was really moving, to be honest with you, to take that time and really say, even though we're in COVID and you guys got your diplomas in the mail and you got your caps and gowns and you don't get to walk, we're still going to make it special. We played the pomp and circumstance for them to walk out. And that was probably my most favorite speech I've given. But presentations professionally, I've given a couple of ones where they're standing room only, and that's really nice. When you hear, that, we filled your space and we want to continue to hear what you have to say is really, really nice. And that's heartfelt and appreciated greatly for that. Yes.
That's beautiful. In the chat, just give a heart reaction or a thumbs up or a clap for that, because, a lot of individuals during the pandemic didn't have the opportunity to get those things, and it was kind of taken from them. So let's kind of honor it and celebrate that. That makes me think about it when I did a workshop, not a workshop. I did a closing for a conversation for the YP Young Professionals at HHHR's conference, and I talked about that especially, and I was like, I went through the kids, the parents, and the support family members and support people, and had people clap it up for them, because they kind of lost that opportunity. And I'm glad that you kind of brought that up. I do want to bring up something on public speaking and talking. And the information that you take away from public speaking isn't someone's doing, like, we're doing an hour here, and a lot of times, sometimes people send me stuff that they took away from this, and it's an hour, and it's a lot of information. And I know we even scaling this down because there's so much stuff we can actually talk about. We can actually probably do 3, 4, 5 hours on this, you and I. I want to go through some of the stuff I took away from our meeting in the virtual wellness summit meeting that we had with our team, and also audio rooms that I went to for different individuals. So the step to me this week was Leslie Fowles speaking about, like, proven and resistant. Also stuck with me, Camille talking about abundance. Like, these are just key words that stuck with me. Anya, who's a part of the summit, talking about being in it. Jackie talking about place, and also talking about using words that actually are positive towards the individual, like talking about reentry. David E. Johnson talking about time and cell phones, and that it can create stress on us. Also, Brenda Lee's talking about math and transitioning and different things. Flexibility from Dr. Mishra Q. The writing warrior. Being exhausted and intent, conflict. You talking about how this is fun for you. And we always talk about how we don't want to do chores. The minute it becomes a chore, we don't want to do it. And it being fun and being there. Dr. Raheem Young and Royce talking about fatherhood in action. And Kingo wanting to know and learn more things. And that level of, like, curiosity, and talking about execution and your intention. And these are the things that I kind of picked up during the week from individuals that I wanted to point out. And if I pick that up as a person who's a part of the summit and a participant, I can only imagine if I'm going there, and when I'm going there, because I'm going as a student to each people's room, and it's an opportunity to learn. So I'm trying to go to as many rooms as possible because I want to sharpen and hone my skills. So I can only imagine if you're coming there for opportunity to actually learn. And the whole goal of the Work-Life Balance Summit, not the Work-Life Balance Summit, that's the precursor to it. Now we're in the Virtual Wellness Summit, is to be a one-stop shop for all types of supports because we know individuals in social services, education, technology, healthcare industry, and entrepreneurship have been going through a different shift over the last 2 years. And we want to be able to provide a support and a system and a place where these resources can happen for affordable price and that we can actually share these great people in our network, have them interact with each other, have them build on top of their interactions with each other, and we can continue to network and collaborate to the point where these things are becoming bigger and bigger, and we're able to find those resources and not feel like the wall is up or we're afraid to reach out to the people in our network to have these conversations and open these doors. So this summit is about opening doors and continuing to try to grow and thrive and learning. And those are some of the things I got this week from the individuals in our group. And I wanted to make sure I wrote it down so I can actually have it in front of me to remember to reflect and say thank you this week for the stuff that you said that stuck with me in my brain and moving and like putting things into action.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, that we had all of our presenters, as many that could attend, meet this past Thursday night, which was really the first time that a lot of them got to engage with one another. And so while we went through some nuts and bolts and some business pieces of the Virtual Wellness Summit that's coming up, because those are all the things that you have to do behind the scenes to be ready. Damien and I meet every week to talk about the summit and get things and plans in place. And then we're hosting presenter meetings. We also gave them opportunity to network. And yes, you know, it was wonderful to meet with all of them and hear from them. And I'm excited about just getting to know them better, you know, and I really just want, you know, to, I love connecting people. And I think that's the educator in me, is being able to say, oh, you're having this trouble? I can send you to this person. Oh, you have this trouble? Let me introduce you to this person. Oh, you're interested in this? Let me tell you how this person did it. I'll connect you with them. Like, I love that opportunity to be able to do that, which is why the Virtual Wellness Summit came about. For the first one we did in October, and then the same one here. You know, we just continue to meet more and more people, and you know, they offer so much value to our world, and it's important that we do that. So I do agree with that. And you know, and so many of them, they're so giving. You know, like Leslie, every week, you know, she posts all of these great rooms, and I love having, it's like a one-stop place to go in and go, what do I have going on tonight? Oh, I'm going to go look and see at this audio room and click on this one and go listen to this one for a while and stuff. So that's really nice to be able to go back and do that. So thanks, Leslie, for doing that. I do every room that I go into, I learn from somebody something somewhere, even if it's something that I didn't really think that, you know, really pertain to me. So tonight, going into Jackie's reentry meeting was amazing. It's just not really my wheelhouse, and so I'm learning so much, you know, and so it was incredible. I will definitely be going back to that. I know Camille does some early morning things, you know, hoping to get to some of those at some point in time. So, you know, really just amazing people that we have, like, you know, with us, like, you know, Heidi Wild, you know, she is very in tune to AI. She is very in tune to self-love and gut health. And she's really an expert in that area of wellness. And she did her meditation for us for the Work-Life Balance Summit. It was the best meditation. I just was in that space. And even though we're virtual, it was just incredible. And so you guys are going to love, you know, getting to know her. She's just this warm being, you know? And so I don't know, I just feel truly blessed that all these people were put into my life. And I really just want to share them with so many people. And I'm looking forward to that whole piece. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking forward as well, like Dwight, you know, the writing warrior. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward
Right.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
Daniel.
Yes.
He just obtained his master's degrees. Kudos to Daniel as well. And Daniel does sports and mental health. It's so many people, amazing people. Connect with these individuals who are a part of the summit. Um, connect with them, show support, and come out and attend the summit. It's a great opportunity to actually come out. I know Camille does her morning at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jackie does her room on Sundays, and also, we're doing Finding Your Purpose this Tuesday. Jackie and myself. Brenda Lees does a room every Monday about entrepreneurship, going from corporate to entrepreneurship. You're doing AI on Saturday mornings. Um, Kinga has some amazing posts with information about execution and executives and intentional behavior. There's so many amazing people who are part of our team, our circle. Welcome to Fatherhood. Dr. Raheem Young, Sir Royce, they do the symposiums. Relationship and trauma, Dr. Q. She does amazing work. So there's so many people, and if you heard a name, want to connect with them, Dr. Sheila Thomas does parenting. You want to connect with them, please reach out, and I will connect you in the direct message directly to them. And there's opportunities to always grow and develop and continue to move this forward. In the Work-Life Balance Summit is coming in October, but before that, we have the Virtual Wellness Summit. So
Yeah,
come
absolutely.
on.
And if you don't mind, I also have two parenting summits. So just it kind of falls down a little bit, but I have two amazing parenting summits. One February 1st that I'll be speaking at along with Damien, Dr. Sheila, and Ira Gates. So they are pretty inexpensive. You can see them on my my website, creativelivingideas.com. But we have two awesome. They're 2 hours. Very inexpensive. It's $25 for the 2 hours. So February 1st, April 1. So those are also, so if you have, it just really helps to improve your parenting practice. So we have lots of things to offer for you guys, not just the Virtual Wellness Summit, but, just this whole well-rounded piece of how we live our lives. I just want to say that, you can also, when you come to the summit, when you buy your ticket for that, probably within this next week, our presenters are all listed in there. The events will all be, or the session titles and times will all be in there. You'll be able to go in and bookmark them. You'll be able to select the ones you want to go to, but when you go to them, you're also going to be able to get all the social media information on your presenters, because your presenters not only are on LinkedIn, they're on TikTok, they're on Facebook, they're on all sorts of Twitter, X, I'm sorry, I still call it Twitter, X, different areas like that. And so, they have all sorts of social media. I have all my social media channels as well that I'm active on, which is so funny. You guys aren't going to believe this. I'll tell you a secret about me. My hottest TikTok videos are my cooking ones. Who would have guessed? Nobody wants to listen to me about parenting on TikTok, but they want to watch me cook. And I love that. And it's hilarious. And so anyhow, we all have different pieces also to our world. So check that out also with us.
Yeah, and I just wanted to go really quickly back to the parenting journey. It's $25. I'm doing the bystander effect, and if you attended the bystander effect room and liked it, this one is even on another level, because I'm actually doing it as a presentation and not an audio room, because there'll be more information to that. And I'm telling you, parents, if you think your kid is the same person that they are when they're with you, sometimes they are not. And the bystander effect is so important, because being in a social environment, your kid might be outgoing in front of you and they might be nervous in front of a group of people with their peer level, and it's a different level of energy. So the bystander effect is so important in having that conversation from what it looks like when their kid is in school in that social environment. If you want to see what your kid is like, a lot of times pop up at your kid's school, do those check-ins. It's important to even support your kid in that way. So come out for that as well. the parenting journey. And also come get the summit. It is going to be amazing. I'm not saying that because I'm just saying it to say it. I like people, and the people that we picked and are part of it, I like them. Dr. Farron took a screenshot of it. It's on my page as well. You can see some of the people who presented. Portia will be there as well, and Portia has done TEDx before. She's also written books and stuff. That and it's just popping in my head more and more people who are part of this summit. And I keep forgetting people and keep remembering people as I talk that are part of it. It's just an amazing group of people, high energy, positive people, and people who have a lot of value. And the ironic and funny part about this is there's so many other people who could have been a part of this summit as well that we couldn't even get to be a part of the summit because we only had 20 spaces for 25 presentations. So this thing is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and I love it. So
we have a list. We have a waiting list for the next one of people that are asking to be a part of this already. So this is an incredible opportunity for people. What I wanted to say about that, oh gosh, I lost my train of thought. We were thinking of one more thing I wanted to talk about with the summit.
It's probably somebody I forgot on the list.
I don't know. You've done a pretty good job.
Maddie, right? Maddie too.
Maddie Villeneuve. Yes, she's going to be doing yoga for us. Dr. Mel. I talked about her. Yeah. Yeah.
Dr. Mel. Sorry, I forgot to say, but it just popped in my head. Mel V.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's incredible. So she's got, Mel kind of sits quietly. She has 2 amazing podcasts that I'm going to be on here in the future, but 2 amazing podcasts. She's got Choose Your Next Yes for women that are in their 50s that are transitioning. And then she has one, I forget what it's called, about transitioning from teacher to leader. And so just incredible pieces to it. So she's got podcasts, she has her own training, her own coaching, like just incredible that what she already has and what she's already offering to the world. Yep. I don't remember. I'm sorry. I wish I had, I was going to say something. I can't remember what it was going to be, but yeah, the Virtual Wellness Summit is just going to keep getting better and better. So you want to stay connected with us and stay with this. It is just going to be so much fun. We're having a blast.
And get your ticket. Tomorrow is the last day. It's at the early bird discounted price of $47. Buy it for a friend of yours. Partner up with somebody and say, let's buy this together. Like, just get into the summit as quickly as possible, so it doesn't, when it does go up to $159, you already got it at the early level. And it's a great opportunity. It's a gift you can give somebody for their birthday. It's probably something, if you can probably get your job to pay for it, see if they'll do that, as well as the training hours. Most places have to do 40 hours in social services. There's 14 right there for you. And even the breakout room when you meet the presenters is worth it enough. As I remember that being a great networking opportunity for people as well. So I know we had time. So
that's what I was going to talk about. Talk to your companies about sending you to this for these 2 days. If you have a company, send your staff to this for these 2 days. That's what I was going to tell you. Buy these tickets now and then get them to go to that so that you can give them that. There's nothing worse than having that, oh my gosh, morale is low here, or, this is humdrum. Well, let's give them something to pep them up, let's give them this opportunity so that they can, really be lifted up. And, we were just talking about this. My daughters and I were having, I'm going to give you I know we're 1 minute over, 2 minutes over, but, sometimes we have to help ourselves. And so if we're feeling kind of low, or if we're having some issues, let's find a way to help ourselves. And this is a perfect way for you to do that. Sometimes we have to say, you know what, I'm going to do this for myself, and I'm going to make some changes in my life. And so this is a perfect opportunity for you to seek out and find some amazing tools and strategies for you to incorporate in your life. And so I'm going to use that as my closing. So I hope to see you guys all there. And if not, I'll see you next Sunday for sure.
And again, on Wednesdays at 8 a.m. we are doing these audio rooms, which is the precursor to the lives, which are all the lead up to the Virtual Wellness Summit. So come out at 8 a.m. Eastern Time for those topics and rooms. And this Wednesday, what are we doing as a topic?
We are doing get out of your own way, which is kind of what I just talked about, right? Get out of your own way. This is going to be a good topic. This is going to be good.
Yeah, getting out of your own way is a great topic. And on that note, we thank you. Leave comments on how you like the event, suggestions, um, share with people. You can even share this with somebody and let them know, like, hey, I saw this, I went to this, and I saw this live. Here's a great tips. You can actually share this with your team about public speaking, and people get tips from this as well. So share the information. It's free here. Um, Also, come out for the summit. And on that note, thank you all for showing up, and we appreciate leading up to the Virtual Wellness Summit. I'm Damian Kinsey, and that is Dr. Tyler Farron, and good night, everyone.